When people discuss buy-to-let, one number comes up again and again: yield. In this video, I want to explain what yield actually tells you, what it doesn't, and why real profit and cash flow matter far more than headline percentages. This isn't about dismissing yield completely, it's about using it properly. Gross yield is usually calculated by taking the annual rent and dividing it by the purchase price of the property. It's simple, quick, and easy to compare. That simplicity is why it's so commonly used, especially when people are first looking at buy-to-let property. Yield is popular because it feels objective. It allows people to compare different properties quickly, and it produces a neat percentage that sounds reassuring. The problem is that yield only tells you something about rent relative to price, not about how the property actually performs once you own it. Gross yield ignores three very important things: costs, void periods, and tax. These are not minor details. They are the difference between a property that feels comfortable to own and one that causes ongoing stress. A high yield does not automatically mean high profit. In many cases, higher yielding properties come with higher costs, more maintenance, or greater management effort. Meanwhile, a lower yielding property can sometimes deliver steadier cash flow and fewer surprises. Once you factor in mortgage payments, maintenance, insurance, management fees, and void properties, the picture changes significantly. Two properties with identical yields on paper can deliver very different results once real-world costs are included. This is why focusing on yield alone can be misleading. Real profit is what remains after all the costs of owning and running the property are taken into account. This includes not just the obvious expenses, but also irregular costs and periods without rent. Real profit is rarely as neat or as predictable as a yield calculation suggests. Yield is a ratio. Cash flow is an experience. Cash flow is what you feel month to month, whether the property comfortably supports itself or constantly needs topping up. For most landlords, cash flow matters far more than a headline percentage. A property with strong cash flow gives you breathing space. It allows you to handle repairs, void periods, and changes in costs without stress. A property with weak cash flow might look good on paper, but can quickly become difficult to live with in practice. Yield can still be useful, but only as an initial filter. It can help you rule out properties that clearly do not stack up. What it should not do is make the decision for you. The real work begins once you start looking beyond yield. Instead of focusing on yield alone, it's more useful to look at net income, cash flow, and risk. Ask yourself how the property performs after costs, how resilient it is during the quieter periods, and how much uncertainty you're comfortable with. These questions lead to better, long-term decisions. Buy-to-let works best when approached conservatively. Use realistic assumptions, allow for costs and voids, and avoid relying on optimistic projections. This mindset doesn't make buy-to-let exciting, but it does make it sustainable. Many buy-to-let problems come from chasing yield without understanding the wider picture. Costs are underestimated, tax is overlooked, and risk is downplayed. These mistakes are common, but they're also avoidable once you know what to look for. Yield can be a useful starting point, but it should never be the final answer. Real profit and cash flow are what determine whether a property genuinely works for you over time. Understanding this difference is one of the most important steps in becoming a confident landlord. In the next video, I'll take a realistic look at whether buy-to-let is still worth it in the UK today, given costs, tax, and changing conditions. That video builds directly on what we have covered here. The practical landlord.